Hey yo, how's it going everybody? SixftHax here, have for y'all today my week 5 match of the Draft Premier League. If you guys are excited, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Also let me know in the comment section below what is your favorite ground or steel type Pokemon, because if you look at my opponent's team, Excalent absolutely destroys me. So yeah, that's going to be a giant problem going into this battle. But if you don't want to hear me talking about my team, then you've already seen the time skip. You can go ahead and jump right into the battle. So at this point in DPL week 5, my homies are currently 1-2 against the Weens, the large Weens, I think. Yes, it's either the large Weens or the Weens. I'm pretty sure that we're facing. So we're taking on Scrappy10 here. So if I win this match, I'm able to tie the week for our squad. But if I lose this match, then we are down 1-3, and basically the large Weens only need one more victory. So hopefully we can win this match and tie it up, and then we can win out week number 5 here. So taking a look at the team matchup real quickly. Again, Excalent is easily the biggest threat on my opponent's team, regardless of what drill wants to run in the set. Is going to be a giant issue, and I need to find out exactly what set it is running so I can determine on how exactly I can deal with it. He also has a very scary bird spam core between Talonflame and Mega Pinsir, and the thing about this matchup is that in order for me to deal with Excalent, Talonflame, and the Mega Pinsir, I need my Electros, and Electros is unfortunately very notorious for getting overwhelmed and worn down very easily. So yeah, that's very problematic heading into this game. Like, this matchup is nowhere near as bad as my week 4 matchup, I believe. Like, I definitely have some way out in this matchup, but the thing about it is that if I don't expect the right set, then I could definitely lose this game. Not to mention that Greninja is also another giant problem potentially. Like, Specs Greninja makes a lot of sense, I think, because Specs Dark Pulse can smack the entirety of my team, since my Dark Resist is Whimsicott, which does not have any good form of recovery. And then Spike stacking is also another giant issue, along with a Stealth Rocks on my opponent's squad. As for his final team member, I don't know if it's going to be Deontay, Hippowdon, or Heliolisk. I feel like it's definitely going to be Deontay or Hippowdon. And then Mew, I think 100% needs to be a physically defensive set in this battle. So as you can see on my screen, we have our own physically defensive Mew. This set is really nice to deal with the majority of his physically offensive mons. Shouts out to my boy Jolt for recommending a Nasty Plot Scald Vacuum Wave set. And the nice thing about the set is that with Nasty Plot at +2, Scald is doing a whole lot of damage to absolutely everything, and then whatever I can't Scald, I can then Vacuum Wave to potentially revenge kill or catch them off guard and by surprise. We are running enough speed for Adamant Excalent, which honestly there's no reason for my opponent to run Jolly Excalent in this matchup unless he wants to just do less damage to me, which hey, I am perfectly fine with that. So yeah, Adamant Drill I 100% expect, and then we can hit that with a Scald, maybe burn it, or if it's in sand, we can potentially revenge kill it with the Vacuum Wave. So next off, we have a Choice Scarfed Kieran Black. This was like the first set I originally thought of in this matchup, because if you look at my opponent's team, yes, he does have Talonflame, Greninja, and Mega Pinsir, as well as Heliolisk, but all 4 of those sets are basically nullified by Choice Scarf Kieran Black, and all 4 of those sets are absolutely smacked by Kieran Black. Yes, Mega Pinsir does have Quick Attack, and yes, Talonflame does have Gale Wings, because this is 6th gen where Gale Wings is always active even if the Talonflame is not at 100% HP. It doesn't really matter, because with Kieran Black's natural bulk, I can definitely take any one of those hits and then in return still potentially KO them, which if I can take a bird down with my Kieran Black, that would be absolutely amazing. So we have Ice Beam for our main stab, Dragon Pulse for our second stab, because if he doesn't have if he doesn't have Deontay, or if Deontay is gone, not even Excalent is going to be appreciating a Dragon Pulse, because there's no way that it's going to be a bulky Excalent in this match. Flash Cannon is legitimately only for Deontay, and then Earth Power is just really there. I think I probably should have put Draco Meteor over Earth Power, I think, but I mean, hindsight's 2020, so it doesn't necessarily matter too much. But much like me, we're just running enough speed for Drill, because if he does run a Scarfed Excadrill. I firmly believe it's going to be Adamant Scarfed, so that way we can still outspeed it. There's literally no reason for him to run Jolly unless he wants to do less damage to me, which again, like I said, I'll gladly take him doing less damage to me because Excadrill is easily the biggest threat in this battle. So next off, we have a double priority Lopunny because this is amazing and can deal with his bird spam as well if we're able to get up rocks and keep them up, and then with return and high jump kick we hit absolutely everything except for the Mew, but we should be able to deal with Mew with our Drapion here. The great thing about Drapion in this battle is that Toxic Spikes are so free against him that if I am able to Toxic the Mew, which again I fully expect to be defensive, then we are going to be able to deal with it a whole lot easier with our Mega Lopunny, and Mega Lopunny just becomes a much bigger threat to our opponent. Honestly, I am probably just going to lead Drapion going into this battle because with the Shuca Berry, we should be able to live any one hit from absolutely anything that he wants to lead with, get up our T-Spikes, and then hopefully we can keep up offensive pressure against Excadrill or potentially a Defog Mew and just Toxic everything that is not Talonflame and Excadrill. We have Dual Stab just to kind of hit everything, and then Earthquake is really only there for the Excadrill. Like, Excadrill is such a giant problem in this match, and Poison Jab is able to hit Talonflame and Pinsir if it really comes down to it. I kind of wanted to put Rock Slide on this set, but I figured ultimately Poison Jab might just be a little bit better, I think. So next up, we have a very specially defensive Seismitoad set. With this bulk, we are always able to live 2 Choice Specs Dark Pulses coming from Greninja after Stealth Rocks, and then Earthquake does a really solid chunk of damage back to it. Rocks are rocks, they deal with a good majority of his team, and like T-Spikes, if we can keep up offensive pressure, we can hopefully keep up our rocks and make this matchup a little bit easier for us. Rock Slide is only really there for Mega Pinsir and Talonflame, and then Earthquake and Scald are Stab, which can hit everything, which is really nice. And then our final team member is probably one of our most important team members, and that is physically defensive Resto Chesto Electros. Again, Electros is very notorious for getting worn down very easily, but the nice thing about this set is that he doesn't necessarily have the best knockoff Pokemon, which means if he expects my Electros to be gone, I can catch him off guard and go for the rest, and this is going to be brought back up to full HP, so I can deal with the Talonflame, I can deal with the Mega Pinsir, and potentially a non-mold breaker Excadrill. Superpower over Flamethrower, even though we do have a bold nature, just because Superpower still does much more damage to Excadrill than Flamethrower, and I don't want to run a minus speed nature, minus Spadef nature, or minus special attack nature, because I want to be able to take special hits, I want to outspeed hit Powdon, and I want to do as much damage as possible with Thunderbolts and the Giga Drain. So yeah guys, that is our squad. Let's go ahead and jump into the battle. Alright boyos, welcome to our week 5 battle of the Draft Premier League here. So if you didn't see the team builder portion, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite ground type Pokemon or steel type Pokemon? And the reason I ask this is because Excadrill can literally just 6-0 me by itself. The great thing about this matchup though is that I don't have to worry about Sand Rush Excadrill. However though, I might have to worry about Mold Breaker Excadrill, which my Mew should be able to deal with that accordingly. I think if it's Adamant, then I don't need to fear it as much. If it's Scarfed, it's actually a whole lot easier for me to deal with, but if it's Jolly Swords Ends, that's where things could be a little bit problematic. So yeah, Drill, easily the biggest threat going into this battle. Regardless though, if you guys do enjoy, hit that thumbs up button down below and leave a comment as well. So really surprised to see that my opponent did not bring Hippowdon, but he did end up bringing the Deontay, and I did expect him to not bring the Heliolisk. So obviously double bird spam between Talonflame and Mega Pinsir. With this being 6th gen, Talonflame can always have priority Brave Birds, so late game that could be a giant problem. I need to be very careful around that. Mew, I definitely expect to be defensive. Deontay, I also think could be defensive, although maybe an offensive defensive Trick Room set could be a little bit of an issue, so I have to be careful with that. And then Greninja could either be Life Orb, it could be Specs, it could be Scarf, it could be like Mix, Extra Bell. Like there's so many different things Greninja can run in this matchup that I need to be very careful around it as well. So we have Speedy defensive Mew, Scarf Kyurem Black, double priority Megalop, specially defensive Seismitoad, physically defensive Resto, Chesto, Electros, and our lead, which is going to be a Toxic Spikes Drapion. So instantly in this matchup, I figured, hey, I can just lead with my Drapion and get up T-Spikes. Worst case scenario, he leads with Excadrill, but because Excadrill is the biggest threat to my team, he most likely is actually not going to want to lead with that. So I really felt like I lost nothing in just leading off with my Drapion here turn 1, as he ends up leading off with the Deontay. Regardless of what this Deontay wants to do, getting up T-Spikes turn 1 is by far the best play I can make, as he ends up getting up his own Stealth Rocks. I do have the Shuckle Berry, so I don't care if he does have the Earth Power. And now I figured that this is my perfect chance to either potentially go for the knockoff, Poison Jab, or Earthquake. Ultimately though, I figure Earthquake is probably my better play, just because it does the most damage to Deontay, and then I can see what item he's carrying, whether it be maybe leftovers, or if he doesn't show leftovers, then that means he could be a potential berry set, and obviously he's not going to be assault vested because he had stealth rocks. So regardless, I felt like Earthquake this turn was definitely my best play. I didn't think he would risk switching in Talonflame this early on in the battle, especially because once I lose Electros, Talonflame just kind of wins as well. That's like, I went over this in the team builder itself, but along with Excadrill, Talonflame, and Mega Pinsir, these three are the biggest threats to my team offensively. So regardless, I don't think he's going to bring in Talonflame this early, as he actually ends up bringing in the Excadrill. Now, when he originally brought in Dro here, I was really scared that he was going to be Air Balloon. Luckily though, he's not, and instantly I'm able to do 68% to what is definitely the #1 threat to my team. So the thing about this is that even if he's Choice Scarf, I have a Shuckle Berry. There is legitimately no way that this drill can knock me out with any singular hit. Unless he goes for Iron Head and flinches me down, I can just click knockoff here and basically knock this out. Now, it may seem odd that he switched directly into Excadrill, and the more I thought about this, the more I looked at his team. With T-Spikes up and him not wanting to risk Talonflame taking any damage turn 2 in the battle if I didn't go for the Earthquake, I think Excadrill does kind of make some decent sense for him to be switched in here. Like if he brought in Mew, it's going to be taking toxic damage, it's going to potentially take a Poison Jab or a knockoff. If I wanted to go for that, if I did go for knockoff, whatever came in, then that would have been a nice bit of damage, and that ultimately might have been my best middle ground play. But because he did bring in the drill as an Earthquake, I'm going to stay in here and I'm going to be aggressive, as I am luckily able to outspeed him and knock him out with the knockoff. And now the only threats I need to worry about are the Talonflame and the Mega Pinsir in the back. As in comes the Greninja. I can live a Hydro Pump unless he has Choice Specs, so I think I do end up risking it here, and I stay in going for the Poison Jab, just because there was a likelihood that he would expect me to bring in my Seismitoad, and I was actually very close to bringing in Toad here, because if he did go for Dark Pulse, or if he did go for Spikes or Hydro Pump, then I could have then got up my Stealth Rocks. But I figured because Greninja, if it Specs, could be a little bit of a threat, even if he Hydro Pumps, that gives me a free switch into my Seismitoad, and then from there I get up Rocks, putting me in a really good position regardless. That I thought that I could go ahead and just risk my Drapion here, as he ends up bringing in the Deontay here. My Poison Jab does nothing to this Deontay, as I'm going to switch out here into my Toad, hoping that this would be my best chance to just go ahead and get up my Stealth Rocks. As he goes for the Moonblast, in comes the Greninja. There is no way this Greninja should be able to one-shot me, and hopefully he doesn't flinch me, so I can do some solid damage with the Earthquake. And after checking the damage calc, he did turn out to actually be Specs Greninja, but thanks to the Toxic Spikes and the Stealth Rocks, not Stealth Rocks, sorry, the Toxic Spikes in general and Earthquake, I'm going to be able to deal with this Greninja very easily. As in comes the Mew. I originally did actually have Facade on my Lopunny, and this is where I kind of wish I had kept it, because I could in theory stay in with Lopunny here and take the Will-O-Wisp and then return into Facade boosted by Burn, could knock out the Mew. But I figured that if he is going to go for the Will-O-Wisp here, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring in my Drapion. The nice thing about bringing in Drapion too is that I don't really care about the burn. I would rather have my Drapion burn than any one of my other team members, because the great thing is that now I can go ahead and go for the knockoff. So if he only had Rapid Spin on Drill and not Defog on this Mew, I'm still sitting in a really good spot in this match. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go for the knockoff, as unfortunately it does turn out that he has Defog on Mew. Now this is actually a little bit bad, because Stealth Rocks were my best way of dealing a huge chunk of damage to Talonflame and getting off 25% on Pinsir, and I really contemplated saving my Seismitoad earlier and just sacking off my Drapion, but hindsight's 2020 and there's nothing I can do about it now. So unfortunately he gets rid of my Stealth Rocks and I lose my Stealth Rocker, but things aren't entirely too bad. Like with Dro being gone, my Electros has so much pressure relief from it that I can still potentially deal with the Talonflame and deal with the Mega Pinsir. So I'm gonna go ahead and go for my T-Spike here, as he ends up going for the Roost. The main reason I wanted a T-Spike is because I wanted to guarantee a safe switch into either my own Mew or my Kieran Black, as he potentially went for the Defog, which is what I'm gonna try and do. I'm gonna go ahead and actually bring in my Mew, because if he left in his own Mew, that would allow my Mew to start nasty plotting against his Mew, and because his Mew lost his leftovers and he is poisoned, at +6, a Scald should easily be able to 2-hit KO my opponent's Mew, because this Mew is definitely running close to max speed, which means his only bulk is going to be most likely in HP. So if he's only running max HP with no Spadef bulk, a +6 Scald does over 50%. Along with the Toxic, I will be able to beat this Mew eventually. So he actually ends up switching into his Deontay here, as I brought in my Mew, and this is perfectly fine by me, because even if this Deontay wants to go for something like Toxic, after a nasty plot, a +2 Scald will guarantee knock him out, and I just want to go ahead and start trying to take down any type of Mon I possibly can. As he gets up his rocks, and down goes the Deontay, as in comes his own Mew, and this is perfectly fine by me, because if he does not have Taunt, as you can see here, I can just go ahead and get to +6 and not really be scared of anything that he wants to do. So he reveals to have the Flamethrower, as he unfortunately misses the Will-O-Wisp. That miss really doesn't matter in the long run of this battle, as you guys will see here. So I get up to +6 as I go for the Scald. I get a crit. That crit did not matter. He showed me he was max HP Mew, so I would have been able to knock him out regardless. As in comes a Talonflame, I can definitely live any one hit, and +6 Scald is an easy KO, as his final team member is going to be a Mega Pinsir. There is no way Mega Pinsir can beat the combination of the last Pokemon I have. As he tries to go for the Swords Dance here, he is going to get KO'd by Scald, and that is going to be the 5-0 victory in my favor for week number 5 of DPL. So I did not expect to win this match 5-0, and I did not expect Mew to put in this much work in the battle. So good game to Scrappy10. We are now 2-2. Hopefully we can win this week and make our record 4-1 heading into week number 6. So with that being said, guys, again, let me know what is your favorite ground or steel type Pokemon in the comment section below, and I will see you all tomorrow on Tuesday with another video. So later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion, but when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.